Welcome back to the Hoof Football Podcast. It's season 2, episode number 12 now. And today I'm joined by Charlie, Josh, and Lewis's younger brother. Um, how are you? How are you, Lewis's younger brother?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. I decided yesterday just to get rid of, basically remind myself what I look like under the beard, and I've decided never to do it again.
Yeah.
And then other than that, obviously, football this weekend was back. Obviously, North London derby, which we'll allude to in a minute, so I won't get into that. But yeah,
What is it like cosplaying as a 12-year-old?
well, seeing as to be fair, I had the most facial hair on the thing. I thought I'd give you a little bit of,
Well, I
a
appreciate
highlight
that.
for yourself with that mustache of yours.
I
You're
appreciate
gonna get
that.
a nick saying that. Fucking hell. How's it feel cosplaying as 12-year-old?
Oh my
Yeah, no
God.
comment.
You're gonna get locked up. Fucking hell.
We'll move on swiftly. Charlie, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Looking forward to tonight's whole game.
Mm.
Had a lot of fun watching last night's game between Man U and Everton. Don't know what was going on with that Idrissa Gana Gueye, Michael Keane situation, but entertainment.
Well,
To be
yeah.
fair, if Ben carries on with these facial hair jokes, it's going to be me and him with Idrissa Gana Gueye and Michael Keane in a minute.
Ooh. Wait, which one are you? Am I keen or am I
I'm
addressing?
Idrissa Gana Gueye.
Yeah, fair enough. You're gonna well, seems uncalled for, to be honest. Seems uncalled for. That is a big game tonight, Charlie. We're playing Coventry, so I'm terrified, to be honest. But we've got a new manager who
I,
starts.
I really do want you to win just so Coventry don't
So
go
do I.
further away from winning, but
So do I.
whether it's going to happen, I don't know.
No. Were you excited for Jaden Philogene to be back?
No, no.
That's
No,
cream
he's
tactics.
definitely going to score against us, and I'm not looking forward to that.
Josh, mate, how's things on your neck of the woods?
Yeah, fine, mate. We've all graduated now. Big
Whee!
day on that Wednesday.
Big up.
Glad to see you all again, boys. But yeah, my weekend could have gone a bit better. England lost the first test of the Ashes.
Okay.
Burnley lost. I had to travel to Peterborough to watch Radcliffe, and we lost 3-0 with 9 men. So it was the Fosters did Saturdays. Um, Horrid. And tonight I've got to go to Southport.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. Yeah, that's a long weekend. That's
I've had better weeks. I won't lie to you.
yeah, but at least you're here doing the Who Fit Football
Yeah,
podcast.
I know.
Things could be worse. The person who's not here is Joe, obviously.
Yeah, but he might be dead at the minute,
He might
considering
be dead.
the
He
situation.
might be dead. Speaking of dead, Spurs got bad.
Yes, they did.
And today we're talking about that. We're talking about Spurs after they got demolished 4-1 at the Emirates on Sunday in what was, I think we could describe, a truly pitiful display. So fourth successive defeat for them now as well against Arsenal. And I just want to highlight quite how bad the performance was. So they've played 392 Premier League games since the start of 2015-16. I'm sure you saw this stat on Sky Sports. Their three shots is the 390th worst that they've had since then. 0.07 XG, 391st. Four touch in the opposition book, 391st. Passes in the opposition half, 383rd. And passing the final third, 387th. So just a really, really quite bad display. And I can't say I'm too surprised because when I saw the lineup, I messaged our mate Dylan, who is, of course, a Spurs fan, and told him it made me physically ill. Um, in fact, I'm going to go for you first, Josh, because it's got so bad. I want to get your opinion on this. I've seen a Twitter fan, a Spurs fan on Twitter, calling for Scott Parker to take over.
Christ.
And if I'm honest, I'm
Wow,
not
they
sure
really
that's
are
going to fit for it.
desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think he'd do much better, but yeah.
no,
For me, it just felt like Spurs were too scared to lose, if you know what I mean. We
that was
set up willing to take anything we could get. If they weren't willing to go at Arsenal and kind of have a go of a game, it was like what relegation side, like what we do against like an Arsenal. We set up defensively and it's just damage limitation.
bad.
That's what it felt like for Spurs. They didn't want to. I get we scored in the end, but it was like quite lucky, really. Don't get me wrong, it was a good like finish from Richarlison to ping it that far, but it weren't like they'd gone and played really good football in the lead up. We just kind of won it back, and Richarlison thought, you know what, I'll hit it. But I feel like we were just more willing to set up very defensively, damage limitation, and maybe catch him on the break. Which, like I said a minute ago, that's what relegation sides do against the top sides. And if it's your big derby and you're doing that, that's worrying, especially as a Spurs fan.
Well, I think
Like,
that's a lot of the issue, isn't it? Because that's what he would have done at Brentford, and he's not
yeah,
at
exactly.
Brentford anymore. He's at Spurs now. He's at one of the big six, supposedly.
So
Um,
you've got to go at these teams. Like, I'm not being funny. Like, I'm sure as a Spurs fan, you'd rather lose 4-1 and your team's had a go rather than how we did it on Sunday Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where they set up defensively and still conceded 4. Like it's like us against Man City. We set up defensively and conceded 5.
Well,
Like,
the spread didn't help.
but if you do that in your big derby, that's worrying as a Spurs fan.
Yeah, 100%. I think what interests me is I saw someone else highlighting one of his first press conferences where some of the words he said, I'll just read about: brave, aggressive, attack. Fucking none of those on Sunday.
No. And the fact that he said in the lead up, "Who's Eze?" That's just something you don't do.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Like you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like you thought, oh, he might get 1. Never mind a bloody hat trick.
Yeah, that's not great for him. Lewis, what are your thoughts, mate?
I think at the moment under kind of Thomas Frank so far, it whiffs a little bit of Nuno Espirito Santos at Spurs in terms of both of them had fairly bright starts. Well, Thomas Frank at the start, there wasn't much rumble around him. They played okay. They've got some decent results. But it's just starting where they both play defensive football, and now it's starting where took the leap from a kind of a lower club in the Prem up to the bigger club, and it's starting to kind of just fall apart a little bit. I don't think we're in a kind of a worrying stage at this point for Thomas Frank. I think he's still got the backing from the Spurs board. I do think that the fans are getting increasingly more and more annoyed because it's not just the Arsenal game where you just highlighted how poor they were. The Chelsea game was one of the worst ones as well. They did nothing in that game. I think they have been harsh in terms of they've lost some of their creative players through injury. Dom Solanke's a big miss, I think. I looked at all the different times they've changed their front line this season. And out of the 19 games they've played, they've only kept the same front line in basically one occasion where they've gone into the next game with the same front line. They've been swapping in and out. Kolo Muani's just come to the Prem, and he's one of them players I think you highlighted before to me, Ben, where we don't really know how good he is at this point. He's one of them who's jumped across Europe for Frankfurt, where he was quite good. Juve, he's never really got a foot, at Juve especially. But then is he going to really go on and progress at Spurs? I don't know. There's a lot of players who are just coming into the team. Xavi Simons is another one, and they haven't shown their best games yet. But I think the main problem is this swapping and changing the team constantly. I know he's got to find his best 11. I know he's kind of obviously experimenting and then adjusting with injuries, but you're not going to get that kind of consistency and cohesion up front if you're constantly changing that attacking line. They've had Tell, they've got Richarlison, they've got Odobert. There's so many different options. He just needs to kind of. I don't think they've really got an identity under Thomas Frank from how much he seems to change to find his best team at this moment in time.
Well, I want to go back to something you said at the start, though, where you mentioned their kind of bright start. And this is the thing, I think it was a good start. Like, they obviously lost the Super Cup on pens, but they scored 2 against PSG. We'll see if they do that again. They battered Burnley, obviously, who doesn't? Beat City as well. Lost narrowly to Bournemouth, then battered West Ham. And I mean, it was a good start. Even right now, to be honest, I'm looking at it. On surface value, on face value, it's all right. They're ninth, yeah, but they're 3 points off fourth. Which again is Villa in fourth after the start they had. The season's all over the gaff. So on face value, they're actually not doing too bad. I mean, Charlie, I wonder what you kind of read into that.
Yeah, I mean, with them being a top 6 side, you're obviously going to expect them to be fighting for a Champions League place. But then at the same time, you can compare teams like Liverpool and Man United, who, like, we're seeing them, despite being like only 3 points away from a Champions League spot, where they currently are at the minute in mid-table is not really where they should be. I think, like Lewis has mentioned, with Chelsea and Arsenal, like they're, I would say, Tottenham's biggest rivals, and they're basically must-win games. That's how fans would view those teams whenever they play them, is their must-win games. And I don't think for a minute that there was really any fight in either of those games, and that's worrying. And I don't think as well that when you're going up against like the bigger teams, when it does come to playing like Arsenal, City, or Chelsea, for instance, you're gonna like Lewis has said, obviously you're gonna want to put on your best team, but at the same time, Thomas Frank needs to understand that you've got to kind of play to some consistency where, yes, it may not work, but over time, like, players are going to adapt. Like, I think they're having to get used to so many like different formations, maybe some different tactics in different games. And I mean, arguably with them being like a sign of kind of like a defensive mindset, it's for fans would argue maybe it is like a boring style of play. I don't know how they'd really view it, but we look at like the game against Wolves, like they only just got a point out of that through a last minute goal from Paulinho. I mean, that literally could have been Wolves' first win of the season. It's just to me the issue that they have is that yes, they're currently in the Champions League, which is great, and I think that's something where they can at least try and contest with. I don't think they're going to win it. I think most people can agree with that, but they've got to back themselves up in a league. Like obviously last season, finishing 17th, they don't want to go back to that and have PTSD from looking like they're going to be just one spot away from relegation, which they shouldn't have been in the first place, but. They've got to, yeah, like Lewis said, they've got to find that consistency. It's a matter of fact how, yes, they do have the injuries, but you can't expect to always put on your best team possible with the players you have available. And I think with them currently being in mid-table, yes, it's not the end of the world that they're 3 points away from the Champions League, but when you look at previous games and the fact there was no fight in certain matches, like for instance Arsenal, Chelsea, and I think as well the Bournemouth game, I think that was a poor one for Spurs. They've got to do better. They've got to make the most of those matches, even if it is just to get a simple draw, like a 0-0 draw. But yeah, I think it's obviously they've had a good start to the season, but it's gradually got a bit more disappointing, I'd say.
I was just looking actually then at the Chelsea game as well as the Arsenal game, and they had 6 shots combined in those 2 games. So I take your point about have a bit of fight, give it a go. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the main problem is that Thomas Frank's come in and his kind of brand that he said from Brentford is about how he's going to make them a defensively solid team. And he has tried to make improvements with this Spurs team. He's obviously tried to come in and change the kind of what's happening at the club in terms of Ange was very much more attacking and they had that defensive frailty. But the problem is that he's put so much emphasis, I feel, on being defensively solid that when he's getting beat 4-1 and when he's not kind of performing well defensively, which has been the last couple of games, it almost you start doubting him as a manager and his tactics and what he's all about because he's come in almost prefacing that he's about defence, and yet all that's happened is that they're really poor attacking. They've got no fluidity, and then they're not even doing the thing he's saying that he's doing, which is that defensive thing. But the one thing I will say is that you kind of alluded to it a little bit, Charlie, is the idea that it's such a close Premier League season where, yes, it looks slightly bad for them at the minute, but you can easily say, as you've said, Ben, they're only 3 points off of the Champions League, and you've got the likes of similar big teams like Liverpool, Man United. It's not a disaster at this moment in time. I don't think Spurs fans should be panicking. It's more the manner of how they're losing the games is the key thing.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned about his teams being defensively sound, or that's what he wanted. In the last 2 seasons at Brentford, they conceded 65 in the 23-24 season, and then 57 in the 24-25 season. So I'm not sure that's if he was preaching that, I'm not so sure he should.
No. So he came in, and one of the key things that I'm sure I read it on a Spurs, like one of their website things before we did this podcast, and they were saying that he very much wanted to come in and solve Spurs like defensively, and obviously he's kind of shown that in sense of playing a double pivot of Palhinha and Bentancur. But then what you get from that is no attacking output and no mobility in that midfield. And I know that they've had injuries with Pape Sarr, and I think Bergvall got injured in the Chelsea game and just came back against Arsenal. But you need something else. You can't rely on them two, especially as kind of a combination in that midfield.
Well, we've all been pretty negative so far. I don't know if anyone's got any kind of positive things to say towards Thomas Frank. If he's listening, cheer him up a bit. It's gone quiet.
Someone else can have a go because I've spoken a lot.
Yeah, it's like, so I get what you mean. He's tried coming in solving defensive problems, but it's one of them. You can solve a defensive problem and get too defensive. But which in some games it's worked. Like it's one of them. But I get it's kind of first game bounce, but against us, we didn't even give us a sniff, like up top, and then counter attacks from one of our like half attacks, and we scored from it. So it's like little stuff like that where we've clearly worked on it, and it's worked well. And I think the ideas are of what he wants to do with the team and all that lot. But I do just think of the Arsenal game. It was like managers have slip ups. Like Pep Guardiola said it himself. He's managed 1,000 games and he's still not perfect. It's one of them. We know Arsenal are an attacking team, um, so I do just think of like first London derby as well, or North London derby. Might be a bit of pressure on Frank of right, I need to get this right. This is my big chance to show that I'm like belong here. But as you said, of he's he's still doing quite well in the league. Like I get we kind of take out Liverpool and Man United situation at the minute because of like their poor starts, but I still think we can. He's like it's one of they go and win next Saturday. I don't know who we've got, but it's a different ball game, and no one's saying, "Oh well, Frank out like they are now." If you know what I mean, that's how quickly football fans can change. I feel like it's just it's a derby, it's an overreaction. It's like when
I think as well. Like, look at Liverpool fans with Arnie Slot and the rap that he's getting at the minute. You know, fans are always cynical in the sense that kind of jumping on obviously managers and being harsh on them. Thomas Frank, he knew that he was going to get scrutiny going to a bigger club in Spurs and the demands that Spurs have. They spent 150 million this summer and he's in a brand new stadium, which is not kind of when he was there, but he's still probably feeling that from the hierarchy in terms of the pressure that comes with that. But at the end of the day, he's clearly a good manager. He's been in the Premier League for a number of seasons. And I think right now he's trying to find his best team and he's waiting for some of the better players or injured players. Like Kulusevski's been out all season. Apparently he's rumoured to be close to coming back. Someone like that who can give them more attacking impetus in that midfield. And then, Dominic Solanke, as I said before, he is someone that drops a little bit deeper and is brilliant at linking the play up, which they haven't had in like Mawani, who's just come in. So there's a lot of adaptations and things that there is going to be signs of improvement, I think, as the weeks go on, if he's given that time, which is crucial.
Charlie, have you got anything else to say positively on it?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think if you compare, like, for instance, how Thomas Frank is doing in like the past, let's say, past 5 games compared to Arnie Slot in terms of the league, Frank's doing far better. Like Slot with Liverpool, it's going downhill, and it seems it's more. If I'm a Liverpool fan or a Tottenham fan, I'd be more worried to be a Liverpool fan because you're in a really worrying situation that like they're struggling to win league games or pick up any points. At least with Spurs, like yeah, like we said again, like they haven't beaten Chelsea or Arsenal, but at least they're getting something from the other games against maybe like the bottom 10 teams. It's just the fact that yeah, again, it's very similar to what Lewis is saying. It's kind of like it's easy for like teams, or as well as Josh said, it's easy for fans to jump on the managers after losing a derby or a big game that has been like labelled as a must win. But what I will say with Thomas Frank is at least he is trying to show that he does want to win the games with obviously trying to put on his best team possible, which obviously isn't going to work, but at least he's trying to show that. It's just a matter of fact that, yes, they are doing quite well with the Champions League at the moment, and whether it'll continue with against PSG, I don't know, but it's more the fact how Spurs don't want to go back to that previous season where they've become almost like a joke of a team. They want to be contesting at this rate. They're just going to want to be contesting for Champions League. Like there's no way that they're going to be competing with Arsenal for the league. It's far from that, and you can easily say the same thing about Liverpool because, I mean, once you've had 6 losses from what I think is like 7 league games, then there's just no real chance. But I just think that I think if I'm a Spurs fan, obviously I'm going to criticise him for the fact that he's not keeping any consistency and not letting players adapt to a certain style or a certain formation, for instance. But at the same time, at least he is showing that he wants to put on his best team possible and at least try and win the games.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Charlie. I think if you walked into a Spurs pub and said, "Hey, it could be worse," you might get punched.
I probably
Um,
would, yeah.
but I think
Yeah, I don't think he's put his best team out, if I'm honest. But
well,
anyway,
that's what I
go
was
on,
going
mate.
to say. The other thing I was going to say towards the Arsenal game is, as I've said, the Bentancur kind of pulling you. Yes, there's injuries, but that with the
I
back five as well, it's just you're not trying to win the game at that point, like Josh has said earlier.
I was going to say as well, I think it does sometimes depend as well with again like how players have played previously. That we've seen, for instance, I was going to say Xavi Simons. That's the wrong player. Xavi Simmons. Like I wouldn't say he's had like the greatest stint with Spurs at the moment because it was really. I mean, when I watched that Chelsea game, he looked dreadful when he came on the pitch, and then he kind of did improve a bit. But I think that's this thing with Thomas Frank for which players he's trying to bring on. I think he's looking at players who have maybe like they've not had great form, so he doesn't really want to start them. But at the same time, there'll be other players in the same position, for instance, who are not performing to the good enough standards. And he's having to make that choice where he has to switch it up because he thinks, well, this maybe will be better because putting this certain player on to change with the other may make the difference as if it would from the previous game. I don't know. It's a really weird situation I think Spurs are in, but I think they'll be all right. I think they will contest for Europe.
Well, we'll round this up with a quick kind of prediction from everyone. I'll start with you, Charlie, 'cause you were just talking. Do you think Thomas Frank sees out the season, and where do you think they finish?
I think, well, I think he will see out the season. It might depend on obviously with like the returning players from injuries. Like we obviously have Basuma at the moment, Ben Davis, James Maddison, Kulusevski. I think he will see out the season. Um, Maybe there's going to be a point where he might be under scrutiny. I don't know, but I do think they will get European football. Champions League at the moment, how they're looking, I don't want to say they'll get Champions League football. I think they'll most likely get Europa League. I think get like you're comparing with other teams like Chelsea and City who kind of are like dropping points every now and again, but at least they're keeping their form to a decent standard. And it's just more the fact they're going to be contesting with other teams like, for instance, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, which I know are easy games. So I think, yeah, probably a fifth or a sixth. I think they'll get Europa League football.
Lewis, what about yourself?
I think that Thomas Frank should be given the season. I think, like Charlie said, he's going to come under some scrutiny. I read that the PSG game almost is a free hit, and then the Fulham game is kind of the crucial game. I think he's doing okay because I think there's Danes in the hierarchy at Spurs where they wanted to appoint him because he fits their philosophy. I'm sure I read that, so I think he's quite comfortable in his position at this moment in time. And then I think, similar to Charlie, probably they should be aiming for at least just outside of the Champions League, maybe a fifth or sixth, somewhere around there.
Okay, Josh?
I'm kind of the same. I think if we give him a season, at a minimum, obviously, and I think he'll come to scrutiny around Christmas time if it don't really change. But for me, I think a decent run in the FA Cup is what we should be aiming for. I'm not saying set like finals, but like where it's, but well, we might lose to like a City or someone. So decent run in the FA Cup and probably fifth or sixth because I think that top three is cemented now. It's in between one of them three to win the league, and then got 4 spots up for grabs. But I think we'll just miss out just because of obviously, as I said, I think we'll be expecting an FA Cup run. And obviously fixture congestion, which every Premier League manager loves to complain about. But I think we'll just miss out, of course, with the big injuries and the points we've missed out on recently. Will just catch up to them a little bit. So yeah, I think we'll just miss out on Champions League.
That's fair. I also think he'll probably see out the season. Beyond, who knows, but I reckon he'll probably get the year. I'm a little bit less hot on them than the rest of you are. I reckon it's kind of seventh or eighth. I'd be looking at more. But there you have it. That's a quick kind of whistle stop tour of Thomas Frank at Spurs. We'll be back shortly for a quiz. Welcome back to the Hoof Football Podcast, where it's time now for the quiz. And we're going Champions League for the lineup today. So Arsenal are meeting Bayern Munich on Wednesday nights, yesterday, if you listen to this on the release. So for the lineup, I want you to cast your mind back to November 2015, when Bayern secured their first of 3 consecutive 5-1 victories against the Gunners. Now, if we remember that time, that was great fun. Can you name me the Arsenal side from that day? So it's November 2015. I am going to be a little bit harsher as well now, mainly because of you, Charlie. You can't just chuck names at me. It has to fit the formation being a 4-4-2.
Right, 4-4-2. Okay. Oh, cool.
If I'm honest, Charlie, I'm getting sick of you just chucking names at me.
Sorry.
All right, has to fit a 4-4-2. As per, we'll go through the bench, me and you viewers. See if you can remember some of these names. We've got Matt Macy as a backup goalkeeper. What a bloke. Middlesbrough legend Callum Chambers. Who else is on there? Alex Iwobi. What a bloke. One of my favourite players in the Premier League. And Jeff Rain Adelaide as well, if anyone remembers him.
Yeah.
Quality little Frenchman. I nearly went with the Bayern team, and then I looked at it and realised it's piss easy.
Yeah.
So they would.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you're going to say name the Bayern lineup rather than the Arsenal one.
The Bayern team, if you don't get 10 of that, ridiculous.
Well, knowing Charlie, he'll put Harry Kane in there.
Mbappe.
You never know.
Kylian Mbappe.
Okay.
Good. Muller probably played back then, didn't he?
Right.
I like Lewis's Sol Campbell shout from last week.
That was a good.
I didn't say, but you had about a minute, so you've probably got like 40 seconds, 30 seconds. I don't know. The timekeeping's pretty lax on the Hoof Football podcast, if I'm honest. We're just really laid back, you know.
Of course we are.
We're just chilled out guys, you know.
It's not strict.
That's what happens when we've, you know, I've got a degree, so just chill out, you know.
Hey, you didn't hang around and put him out on your Instagram, did you? Christ. I barely left the Etihad. It was Ben Watts had tagged you in a post.
Oh, you're at the Etihad, pal. You're at Old Trafford.
Wait, oh yeah, that's the one.
You silly bellend. Is everyone getting close to a lineup? Because
just give me
almost
2 seconds.
Almost. Oh, God's sake! He definitely wasn't playing at the time, but it's just a random guess.
Get off 10 seconds, lads.
Yeah.
There we go. Charlie's put Ashley Cole at left back.
How'd you know that?
Charlie's name the Invincibles game.
Dennis Bergkamp.
Oh,
That's what back to the era played back then.
Right, Charlie, put your hand down, mate.
Yeah. No, there's some of these players that would definitely be falling.
I'm definitely wrong with my timelines.
I'm going to start with Josh because he finished first.
Ospina.
Okay.
Yep. Debussy. Is that how you say his name? Yep. Gabriel Dos Santos, probably.
No, it's Palista.
Palista. If you mean the Brazilian centre back, yeah.
Yeah. Koscielny.
Okay.
Kieran Gibbs.
Okay.
Theo Walcott.
Okay.
Ozil. Flamini. Remember him?
Yeah, I do remember him.
Cazorla, Giroud, and Sanchez.
Okay. Let me just note that down. Lewis, you're up next, mate.
Might make me feel positive.
I could look like an absolute idiot here with someone I've said, but we'll go through. I know it's already wrong, but Chesney in goal.
Okay.
Callum Chambers at right back.
I literally said he was on the bench.
You named him on the bench.
I didn't listen, so we're carrying on. Gabriel Palista, what he's called. Shokran Mustafi.
Yep.
Nacho Monreal at left back.
Mm-hmm.
A double pivot of Francis Coquelin and let's chuck in Aaron Ramsey.
Okay.
And then we've got Santi Cazorla in there. And then I've gone 4, right? And I know it's going to sound crazy, but I think I remember him playing one of the games, Joel Campbell.
Okay.
And then I've gone for Olivier Giroud and Alexis Sanchez.
Okay. And Charlie, you're up next, mate. Obviously.
Right. I've got Petr Cech in goal.
Okay. 3 different goalkeepers. Wow.
Yeah. I've got Kieran Gibbs, Permer Saka, Debuchy, and then this one's definitely wrong, but I've put Bakary Sanya.
What the hell is that back line? Okay.
That's a weird fullback back line.
No, I think I've put 2 left backs in there. I don't know how, but anyway, I've then got Mesut Ozil,
Crisis.
Santi Cazorla,
Okay.
Coquelin, or however you say his name, and I've also got Thomas Rosicky in there, but I don't think he was there by the time.
Names here are brilliant.
Charlie, you know I said to build a 4-4-2. You've built like a 5-5.
Yeah, I know, because I'm struggling. But and then I've got Olivier Giroud and Alexis Sanchez.
Okay, cool. Well, remarkably, Charlie's actually winning.
My
God. The team is.
Yeah, but he's put 3 fullbacks in the back line.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's only got 4.
Oh, well.
That's my back four.
That's the back four he's gone with. I'm clamping down on that next week, Charlie, but for this week, fine. I've got Petr Cech in goal. It is Debussy at right back. The centre backs were Per Mertesacker and Gabriel Paulista. The left back is Nacho Monreal, so good shout, Lewis. The double pivot was Francis Coquelin and Santi Cazorla. So no wonder they got
Yes.
battered. It was Mesut Ozil, Joel Campbell, well remembered,
Oh,
and then the front two were Olivier Giroud and Alexis Sanchez. So it's very close. It's so far Josh on 6, Lewis on 7, Charlie on 8. All to play for. Question 2. Liverpool are yet to draw a game in the Premier League so far this season. Sheffield United currently holds the record for the least draws in a Premier League season. But with how many? The least draws in a Premier League season. But how many did they have?
okay, I'm done.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, so
Go on, Charlie. You can go first.
I've gone with 5.
Lewis?
I went with 5.
Josh?
I went with 2.
Oh, he's pulled it out. It is 2.
Oh,
It's 2.
Joke.
Right. Fair play. It's still all to play for. Question 3. Asamoah Gyan turned 40 on the Saturday just gone. Can you tell me how many consecutive international tournaments the Ghanaian scored in across an international career spanning from 2003 to 2019?
Include with any international
So
tournament.
World Cup, AFCON.
AFCON as well, yeah, right.
Yeah, AFCON's included.
How many?
How many consecutive?
Oh, consecutive. Okay.
you know, not every 2 years. It was every year.
It's kind of whenever they feel it, to be honest,
No, really.
when I was looking at it.
Sound.
I think the AFCONs were like 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2017 that he played in.
Literally whenever we feel like it.
They just fancy it sometimes.
You say Ghana.
Ghana, yeah.
Surely it's going to be.
I'm done.
Yeah, I've just going to be a guess, but yeah.
Josh, you done?
Yeah.
Right, Lewis can go first.
4.
Josh?
I went with 6.
Charlie?
Well, 8.
It's 9. You were very close, Charlie. He's got in
What the
9
hell?
consecutive tournaments.
Fair
A run
play.
going from World Cup 2006 to the 2017 AFCON.
You know what? Fair play to him.
Yeah, mental. Okay, question 4. Leandro Trossard scored his 19th goal against the Big Six when Arsenal thrashed Spurs 4-0 on Sunday, overtaking which Premier League great? Is it A, Cristiano Ronaldo, B, Robin van Persie, C, Dennis Bergkamp, or D, Ryan Giggs? 19th goal against the Big Six. Ronaldo, Van Persie, Bergkamp, or Giggs?
Got my answer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
God, I've done.
Okay, Charlie, you can have it the first this time, mate.
Gone with Dennis Bergkamp.
Okay, Lewis,
I've gone with RVP.
Josh,
Ronaldo.
it was Giggs. You're all wrong. It was
Oh,
Giggs.
you jerk.
Oh,
So going into the final question, Charlie leads by a point, but there is obviously 5 points up for grabs if you get it dead on. And the question is, when did Norwich City last win a game in any competition?
Oh, for God's sake, it's. Oh.
When did they last win a football game?
Did you a date?
what? As in,
That you're
what do
asking
you
for?
want as the answer?
When was it? How long ago?
God's sake.
When did Norwich City?
What? As in, like, how many games ago?
When did they last win?
Lads, I'll tell you now, it's been a while, all right?
Sound.
Give me. I want it in days, by the way.
Oh, right.
Want it in days?
I
How
want
many
it in
days
days.
it's been since they've won a game?
Yep.
Okay, right.
Right.
Right,
Written and everything.
right, hold on a minute, because international break. I swear they're like. I mean, I don't want to shout out loud, but
Gonna need some answers.
I'm gonna go with. Do you want me to go?
As long as everyone else is ready.
Yeah. Go on.
yeah, I've
I'm gonna
got.
go with
Yeah, go on.
72 days.
Okay, Josh,
I went 100.
Charlie.
I went with 75.
The answer is 86. Charlie gets the point, and Charlie wins the quiz.
Fuck off.
Come on.
It's been 86 days since they last won a game of football in any competition.
Wow. Who against?
Don't know actually, to be honest.
No.
Don't know, don't
Can't
care.
tell.
But well done, Charlie.
Thanks.
From,
Right. Do you want to give us some trivia, Charlie?
I can do. This trivia question, I'm gonna be. You should know one of these incidents. It's basically relating to the Idrissa Gana Gueye and Michael Keane situation.
Are you going to
Um,
give names?
yeah. I'll give you the names. So, there was two other incidents where teammates fought and they end up having a red card. I want you to name me which players got sent off. I'll give you the games that happened. So we've got obviously the Newcastle United game where they lost 3-2 to Aston Villa. There was two players sent off in that game.
Yeah.
And then there is the Stoke City loss versus West Ham. I believe it was in 2008. The captain for Stoke, Andy Griffin, was slapped by which player? Which then got sent
Right.
off.
So the Newcastle one I feel straightforward. So I'll go ahead, boys. It's Lee Bowyer and it's Kieran Dyer.
That's an
Yeah,
obvious.
They're the two.
yeah, that's like the obvious one. So you get out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm struggling for
I have
that.
no clue with the other one, if I'm honest.
I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't. What year was it?
2008, I believe.
Not a Glenn Johnson.
Josh, do you have a clue?
Um,
Luar.
It was Ricardo Fuller.
Ah,
Oh, he said that yesterday on the match.
I was
Yeah.
expecting, they also showed Carragher and Arbeloa going at it, but I guess no one got sent off. Well,
yeah.
bloody trivia. Bloody trivia. Well, anyway,
Fair
there
play.
you go. That's another episode of Hoof It. Charlie, well done for winning the quiz, mate.
Cheers, mate.
You're on a decent run at the minute, so I don't know if you've won a few in a row, but you're getting good points. Yeah, thanks for coming along. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. All the best. Farewell.